Welcome to the Iron Tequila Podcast. We're your hosts, Tequila Poppy and Jordan Martis. We're starting our new series on the 5 truths that men need to hear now.
Number 1, nobody's coming to save you, and we all know that's the truth. Number 2, you're not weak for struggling, you're weak for hiding it, which seems like a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll explore more. Number 3, confidence is not a feeling, it's a skill that can be developed. We'll show you how.
The 4th episode, we'll dive into what's killing men's edge. And then we'll wrap up the series with our 5th and final episode on developing a game plan to move forward.
We're going to dive deep into each of these subjects. You'll want to stay with us for this on the Iron Tequila Podcast. Join us.
Good. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Iron and Tequila Podcast. I'm your host, Tequila Poppy, and we have Jordan Martis with us today. And today we're going to talk about the 5, what do we got, Jordan? The 5
truths men
need to hear.
Need to hear.
You need to hear these things.
The word need is not used lightly.
Yeah, we didn't start this podcast because, life is great for everybody. We started this podcast as a avenue, as a method for reaching out to people who are struggling, and men in particular. And we've learned a few things along the way to this the gray hair that we've acquired. So we want to share some of those things. And so today we're going to talk about what to do when life kicks you in the nuts, and how to get back up. And there's 5 truths that you need to be aware of to get you on the path of forging through some of the struggles that all of us seem to go through in life. The first truth that you need to know right now is that no one's coming to save you.
If you're young in life and you're still being, helped by your parents, nothing wrong with it. Please use it as long as you can. Yet, what we're finding today, there's a lot of people who just don't have the self-pride, the sense of ownership, due to the fact that they're not caring for themselves. It's men in particular.
Yeah. And I love the saying, if you always do what you always got, you'll always get what you always got.
Right.
And so with that vein in mind, we want to talk about the importance of, if you're on a path in life that you're just not satisfied with, you're not happy with where you're at, it's incumbent upon the individual. It's an individual responsibility to change your circumstances, to change the trajectory of your life so that you can change the outcome that you're after.
Well, the biggest concern here is that you've mentioned this many times, is the sense of ownership, the men taking responsibility, and not just a little bit, but complete 100% absolute responsibility for themselves. All of your words, all of your actions, everything you think, even the internal verbiage that's going on every single day, the dialogue, right? Because that dialogue in particular is more influential than we realize.
Yeah.
The self-talk, if you will. There's no rescue though. Like we're talking about here, like Poppy mentioned, there's no real avenue to get out. The only way is through.
It is through, but the strength and the fortitude that it takes to get through, it comes from within. No one's coming to save you.
Where can we develop that?
I think
fortitude.
it starts by seeking information. You got to have a thirst for knowledge. You got to first recognize that there's a problem, and if your problem is I'm not achieving the goals that I want to, then you got to conduct a self-assessment of why am I not reaching my goals? Why am I not performing at peak performance? And they say the first step in making a change is recognizing there's a need for a change. So once you recognize the need, then you pursue you seek the wisdom and education and experiences, resources that you might lack. And we often find that with mentors and friends
distance mentors is a concept that's come up for me a lot in the last handful of years. A book, right? A podcast, something like this.
Yeah.
We could be distance mentors for you. I know you have, and I know I have my own distance mentors, people who we may have never even met, right? Dale Carnegie was interviewed by, his name's not going to come to me right now.
That other guy.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did lots of interviews, and those people are not alive any longer. Yet, their information is still out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, a mentor doesn't have to be somebody that you even meet with in person, that you might even... Walt Disney is one of my distance mentors.
Huh.
The reason is he broke through some things that were a new venture in his world. Nobody had ever done moving pictures, right? Motion pictures, movies. Nobody's ever done the things that you want to do in your world. They've been done, right? Almost always. They've been done. In my world, I want to start a podcast. We want to start a podcast.
We started a podcast.
This has been done before, right? This is not the first time this is being done.
Yep.
So, nobody's going to come and save us and do that for us, is the point. Your parents aren't going to come save you. Your spouse is not going to come save you. It was a belief I had when I was younger, is that a marriage could save me from where I was in my life. You get buried. You just don't have an opportunity, so there's no rescue coming. Where have you found the strength to move through that wall, if you will, that once you hit the realization, where did that realization come from, and how did you move through that?
I can reflect back on a very difficult period of my life 10 years ago, going through a divorce, and I lost everything, and I really found motivation and guidance in spirituality and with talking with friends who had gone through similar experiences, and I sought a lot. I dove deep into podcasts and to reading and learning and personal self-development as a means to get through, to build the resilience necessary to get through the hardships that I was faced with. And it's a lifelong pursuit, though.
I agree completely.
You've got to kind of evolve into having a thirst for knowledge, and you've got to be intentional about pursuing those avenues that will help you get out of the rut you're in.
The concept that I've kind of created for myself is the idea of being a leader of one, right? There's nobody else out there to lead in the world other than myself.
Yeah.
How could I become a leader of anybody else if my discipline, my focus, my work ethic are unavailable to lead myself?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've dealt with for a long time in my day-to-day work and having a child. I mean, I know having 3 boys on your end is like, if you're not a leader, then they're going to find one. That's all there is to it.
In the Army, we had a saying, train the trainer.
Yeah.
And it's this whole concept of in order to be a good leader, you have to first be a good follower. So it makes sense to pursue the knowledge yourself, and then you can share it with others, which is one of the things that we hope to do with this podcast.
Yeah, completely. Yep. You're right, Tequila. There's not a bunch we can find that we aren't aware of, right? That actually leads us really closely into the next number 2, rule number 2, truth number 2. Excuse me. Specifically with the military, truth number 2 is you are not weak for struggling. Everybody has struggles. Where weakness shows up is when we want to hide that we are struggling, right? And military and ego get in the way, not necessarily the military itself, but the thought process behind following the leader and trying to not show that we're scared, that we don't have the skill set to do what we need to do that's being asked of us. And a lot of that comes for me to the point where I fear not being able to acquire those skills, right? And just a lot of that's an inexperience and just ignorance.
Well, no, our parents didn't teach us how to deal with adversity, and we talk about one of the reasons our podcast is named Iron and Tequila is that strength is forged in fire. Steel isn't strong until it's been put through a difficult process. Heroes are born in adversity.
There you go.
Their strength is acquired and honed through challenges and hardship.
Well, they had to realize that and become aware of it themselves before they can face it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. It's an intentional motivation.
Yep.
You have to find.
No one's coming to save you. You got to take ownership of your own life, right? Number two, you're not weak for struggling. You're weak for trying to hide it. So there is truth number two here is that the power really lies in owning where you are.
Yeah.
If you don't own where you are, if I don't own where I am as a father, there's no way that I can improve.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of value in recognizing the weakness and then hitting it head on.
Yeah.
Punching it in the face before it punches you in the face.
Shit, right?
Or at least punch it back harder than it punched you.
Harder than it hit you.
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
And that is a slow death. It's not. We're talking about ego, and ego has been around in our entire lives, and it has a foothold that we're generally not aware of because when we're children, we don't understand that there is a separateness from our true nature and our ego. So that's one and the same to begin with.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to confront that, adapt, and overcome, that's where this recognition of not knowing everything, of being weak, of being in a place where I am motivated to gain information. I have work ethic. I don't know everything, but nobody's going to stop me from finding it. Right?
Yeah, and these are some of the principles we want to impart on our audience for throughout our podcasts is helping develop strongmen, helping develop skills to adapt and overcome challenges. So you're not weak for struggling. You're weak if you're hiding it. Our recommendation is to recognize it, confront it, and knock it out.
Understand that it's going to be a rebirth. It is going to be a reinvention of yourself over time.
A phoenix rising from the fire.
And that's going to be a repeated theme throughout life. If you're young in life, if you're our age or older, you know this already. You've probably recognized patterns that you don't want and overcome them yourself. If you're younger in life, you will die. Your ego will go away. You'll be forced. You're either going to be forced or you're going to choose. So we would much rather have people take a choice, take a stance of self-empowerment and figure out that, this is up to you, nobody else. Number three.
Yeah, great segue into truth number three. Confidence isn't a feeling, it's a skill. And, you think about going back to adolescence, you're not necessarily born with confidence. It's a skill set that you acquire over time, and a vast majority of confidence is achieved through hardship. It's again going back to the iron. Iron is forged in fire. You have to go through struggles to have the experience and to have the strength, the resiliency to drive through it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any larger hurdle in life than the first few major struggles that we end up getting into. And oftentimes in today's society, that's not going to war. That's not being drafted like it was.
War in the traditional sense.
In the traditional sense. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're
very
all
much.
at war every day.
You got that right. So not a traditional sense of going to war, but it's an internal war. It's a warfare between what are my foundational beliefs, the things that I live every single day by. Where do those lead me? Am I willing to dig those up? And those are the skill sets we're talking about developing in the confidence. If you don't know how to go do those things,
figure it out.
That's why we're here. That's why we want to give you the resources. The show notes that we go through here, we're going to have lots of resources available that we're not necessarily even in the show, but things that are related that you can go research gain the skills, the tools, and apply them yourself in your own life.
Yeah, and we're going to go into a lot more detail in these. We're just touching base on these topics and right now, but we're going to have segments coming out later in the year that will dive a little bit deeper into some of these topics.
It might be each one of these is a full segment.
Yeah.
Tell us where do you want to see this go? Tequila Poppy and I are not here to direct this for our egos. I really don't see this being a challenge to deliver information to you, but valuable information, we don't know what that is until you tell us. So please do me a favor, shoot us a comment, shoot us an email, DM, all the like, follow, share crap. Who cares? That'll be a result of you and us engaging in some true development of where we are as men to make this world a better place.
Yeah, and in that vein, you can reach us on irontequila.com.
Yep, irontequila.com. Everything should be there at this point. We don't have everything built out yet, but yeah, that's going to be the foundation for us.
Yeah. So what's the fourth?
Number 4. Truth number 4. These are distractions. Porn, booze, junk food, comfort.
Complacency.
That's it. Thank you. That's probably the best word.
Complacency.
Is complacency. One of the guys that we like to follow, his name's Gary Brecka. He talks about a concept called the aggressive pursuit of comfort. And that could lead us as a humanity down a really negative path. And it's very easy because these things are at our hands, literally at our hands every single day. Well, I don't know about the booze and the junk food. Those are easy.
I got them.
Okay. 2 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Right?
When we're done here, that's where we're going.
Well, all these things are the complacency aspects to distract us from our true mission in life. That's where really the leadership, the leader of one, the concept where these things stack on each other, right? No one's coming to save you. Means that you are going to fend for yourself. You're not weak for struggling. You're weak for hiding it, right? Once we move through that progression, it gets to confidence. If we don't have confidence and we learn that that's a skill that we can develop, we're just going to be stuck in this fourth truth. The reason we don't put that previous is that these other things must be there before we can start to take on this complacency aspect of life. We don't have any discipline, self-leadership. There's no way that the complacency is going to be challenged and overcome, right? Numbing ourselves, that really is a form of relief.
But escapism as well. Escapism. You're not facing the reality when you're in a state of mind that is escaping.
To your point that we've gone over before, it's a short-term solution to a long-term problem.
Right.
Which is where you started with your finances. You saw the people having long-term problems that they were looking at for short-term solutions for, which is this escapism. Right?
Yeah.
The long-term solution to the short-term problem is self-leadership, discipline, and sticking up for yourself.
Motivation, developing skills to coping skills. And, I like to think about the old saying that, soft times create hard men. Hard men create soft times, and then the soft times create soft men.
There you go. That's it.
And we're kind of living in that cycle of evolution these days, where everything's easy, everything's available. There's no
outside anyway.
Outside. We're still struggling inside, right?
Yes.
But developing those skills to be able to face challenges, face hardships, and to come out the other side is a lot of people are just going through life avoiding those, and therefore there is no growth. There's no evolution. There's no growth. No personal development.
It's the hero's journey.
Yeah, it's the hero's journey.
This is the calling that you face. We'll get more into the calling and the hero's journey stuff in another episode here, but you have this desire for a reason. You're listening for a reason. We are here for a reason. The experiences that you, Tequila, and myself have been through, they're here to serve others, right? That's my belief anyway, and they're all perfect at the same time. So truth number 4, these distractions, the complacency, you got to get honest about this stuff. If you're not honest about it, it's just a matter of lying to yourself, which falls back to the previous truths, which you must be your own leader.
Yeah.
So, truth number 5.
Yeah, that truth number 5, the last truth is that, to work through all the phases of mastery that we've just discussed, you need a plan. But it doesn't have to be a perfect plan. It can, the best time to start is today or yesterday.
20 years ago.
Yesterday.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
It was 20 years. But if you can't go back in time, today's the next best time to start.
Let's go find Bill and Ted. They're here somewhere.
I think they're parked out front.
Or maybe Michael J. Fox. With, who's the actor? Christopher, who played the old scientist in Back to the Future?
I don't remember his name.
Christopher Lauer comes to mind. Anyhow, those aren't really possible from here in our reality. So, the plan.
The plan, you got to develop a plan. It doesn't have to be perfect. You got to first things first. I like to say.
Yep.
You got to start with the end in mind. Do some backwards planning.
Yep.
And start with step 1. Step 1, we already talked about kind of recognizing that there's a problem.
Being honest with yourself.
Identifying the problem, and then once you've defined the problem, then you can start working on the solutions.
Right. Way too many of us, myself included, probably you as well, we start working on these problems before we even know where we want to be.
Yeah.
Right. So the business way that I've heard it explained is, we start climbing up this ladder, but we get close to the top and we start to look around, and all of a sudden the building that we're climbing up is the wrong building.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to talk about it when I was a financial advisor. I talked about it in terms of, let's say you're going to go on a road trip, right? And you want to go to New York, and we're on the West Coast, and so you just say, well, New York's that way.
Right.
I'm just going to start driving that way.
Yep.
Eventually you'll probably make it to New York, but your journey would be a lot shorter and a lot more efficient if you started with a plan and a roadmap and said, you sat down, took 10, 15 minutes and outlined, hey, I'm going to take this road, I'm going to avoid this traffic, I'm going to avoid these obstacles.
Yep.
I'm going to take a straight line as much as possible. I'm going to take these freeways, I'm going to stop here, I'm going to gas up here. So if you start off the road trip with a plan, you're going to have a lot greater likelihood of success, and it's going to be a lot more efficient.
Most likely much more enjoyable.
Well,
most likely.
Yeah, you're going to avoid some pitfalls that you might find otherwise that might not be enjoyable.
Right. So in that process there, what do we choose as the end goal? I mean, we know we don't want to climb up these ladders to these buildings, but how do we identify what that goal is?
Well, I think as an individual, every individual has a different idea of what their goal is, right? And it depends on the topic. If your goal is to have a wonderful relationship, or to get promotions at work, or to retire early, you start with the end in mind, right?
Because you're going to start in different places depending on
at what point in your life you're at.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where you start. So, start with the end in mind and start developing the plan. It doesn't have to be perfect to begin with, but because in the Army we used to say you adjust fire, right?
There you go.
You're lobbing mortar rounds on a position, and while you're missing, you can adjust the fire and zero in on the target, and you can do that as you're on the journey, as you're on your odyssey.
See, and that's something that I never realized as growing up. I played baseball growing up, wasn't military directly, and so there was no real adjustment. It was swing, and that's the only chance you get. Right?
Yeah.
So my perspective was a little more importance on getting it right the first time.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My dad's a musician, and he plays guitar, has my entire life since he was young, and the performance anxiety is what I call it. Right?
Yeah.
And in that process, you're on stage, and you miss a bar, you miss eight beats, and all of a sudden your song is quite a bit shorter, or you add an extra bar and all of a sudden it's quite a bit longer,
or you're on a different song.
Yeah,
you're playing a different song.
You can't even fix it at that point.
Yeah.
So restarting from that point is like an ever momentary thing. How do you figure out how to restart once you've taken the first step and it's wrong?
Well, I'd say pay attention to feedback.
Feedback.
Okay. You got to pay attention to your feedback. You collect data analysis. You're collecting that data along the way.
So you're aiming. So you fired.
Well, yeah.
And then you come back and aim before you fire again.
I mean, you could do that, but talking about having a plan at first.
Right, before.
Ideally, in the perfect scenario, you're going to have the plan first. You're going to have the aiming coordinates.
At least moderately dialed in before you get rolling, right?
Yeah. So these are just some of the topics we're going to be talking about on the Iron and Tequila podcast. And, if to our audience out there, if you want a better life, that's cool. We're here to encourage that. We're here to help you define it.
I don't want to sugarcoat it. If you are motivated, don't be afraid to get your shit together. Ambition is a rare commodity these days.
Yeah.
And it's fought against in so many ways in today's society. Young men in particular, we're told so often, don't be aggressive. Winning is a bad thing. Yeah. Competition is negative.
Toxic masculinity.
Don't
do that.
I'm not a big giant fan of swearing a lot, but fuck that.
Fuck that.
We're here for a reason, and you are an individual. There's nothing wrong with you going to the front of the line by your own volition. Okay, please, if you are motivated, go do something. And the barrier to entry is so low right now with younger generations. Is just, you can step forward one step and you will be separate from the pack.
Yeah.
So
sit back, hang on. We're going to be releasing a ton more podcast segments. Pour yourself a drink, steel your mind, and let's sharpen some iron and drink some tequila.
Let's do it. Thank you for being here.
Next time.